You just tuned it in.
Global and worldwide.
Hitting you on the one with no delay. Because it's the Fighter's Voice.
The Fighter's Voice.
With your fighting host, Richard Ortiz.
And the formidable co-host,
Mr. Cole Escovedo. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
Fresno, California. We're live here in Mad Production Studios. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of the Fighter's Voice Knockout Podcast. We have a great show for you this evening. With us in studio by way of cell phone, because you know the way technology is taking off, my man. Remember back in the day, you would just say by way of phone, but now you say by cell phone. And pretty soon you're going to say by cell phone, the new 7 or the new 10 plus, X, Y, and Z, and so far, et cetera, et cetera. But with us, by way of cell phone, man, taking time out of his busy schedule, we have with us the 1992 Olympian, the former IBF junior middleweight champion of the world, now commentator for Spanish Showtime boxing and English Showbox, the new generation boxing, and the man continues to reinvent himself over and over again. And makes us all have fits because he's a southpaw, man, and he throws everybody off. But lately, he's been very active, very vocal, and we're going to talk about that in the middle of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Raul Marquez. How we doing, champ?
Man, I'm doing great, man. That's a great introduction, my brother. I mean, that pumps me up. That really gets me going.
Oh, I mean, that's nothing yet. Wait till later on in the show when I say, ladies and gentlemen, fighting out of the red corner, coming in and trimming ready, 158 pounds, and we'll go there later. My man, hey, you're doing well with your career. You keep reinventing yourself. Now you're back in the media, man. I mean, one comment and everybody's talking about you making a comeback. And if you want to jump right into it, we can, or we can soften the woods a little bit, and then, you know, later on jump in the ring with your plans. And, you know, I want to ask you, you know, is it something that you're really considering, or is it something that we're going to put off to the side? But I'll leave you with that thought. First of all, I want to congratulate you, man, for doing an outstanding job with Showtime. Commend Showtime for hiring you. They've kept you on, and you're doing a great job of commentating. I listen to a lot, and I have my favorites, and you're one of them, honestly.
Oh, I really appreciate it, man. I really treat this job like, you know, when I was a fighter. You know, when I was a fighter, I would really prepare myself, you know, for a fight, you know, when I was going to compete. So, you know, I've been with Showtime now for 8 years now doing Showbox, you know, with Barry Thompson, Steve Farhood. And then I've been doing the Spanish feed on Showtime Championship Boxing with Alejandro Luna, who's from L.A., That, you know, he used to work for Univision Sports. So, yeah, it's a great family to be with. I'm really excited about being with them, you know, for such a long time. But even before I got with them, you know, I've been doing broadcasting since, I believe, 1996, 1997 with various different, you know, TV platforms and just calling international fights, doing Spanish and English. I mean, I worked with just about any of the top guys you could think of: Al Bernstein, Kurt Menefee, Rich Murata, Bob Papa. I worked with a lot of different guys, you know, and I'm just blessed now that, you know, working with two Hall of Famers on Showbox, Barry Thompson, Steve Farhood, and then doing the Spanish on Showtime Championship Boxing. It's a blessing, you know, after boxing, you know, after I retired from boxing and doing this job, you know, I really like to, you know, bring the fans, you know, you really break it down, you know, and let the fans know what's going on and know what a fighter, you know, has to do, or, you know, his game plan, or you know, what it feels to be in there when you got bleeding with both eyes, or you get hurt. You know, just let the fans know what boxing's about, and you know, describe what's going on and be able to break it down the right way.
Well, you know what? When you're in there, I mean, commentating, I mean, we're in there with you because you're walking us through. I mean, you're talking about the transition the fighter needs to make. You're talking about what fighter A needs to continue to do to be successful, and what fighter B needs to do to offset fighter A and to put himself back into the fight. I mean, your detail is very crisp and it's very defined, and it's actually your storytelling.
Absolutely, you know, yeah. I mean, I tell it like it is, you know, and I don't like to favor everybody. You know, sometimes you got the A fighter, you got the B fighter, but if the B fighter's taking over and he's doing what he's supposed to do, and he wins the fight, and say he doesn't get the decision, we're broadcasters. I believe me and Barry and Steve, we call it like it is. If we don't believe the guy won, we're gonna say the guy didn't win. We're gonna be honest with you guys, and that's what I think. That's why people like us so much as a team. Because we speak. We tell the truth. And we talk what we see. That's the way we like to call it.
Speaking of telling the truth, last week we had Robert Garcia himself, the Hall of Famer trainer, and I made a comment on there. I said, hey, if you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask Robert Garcia a question, because he's going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, Robert, I know Robert really good, and the Garcia family, back when I fought Fernando Vargas, the Pops, and of course Mikey Garcia and Robert, they've done really good for themselves, and you're right. Robert, he's very honest, and he's blunt, and he speaks the truth.
He does, man, and we know as well as anybody else, this business, it's a little different when it comes to announcing that decision, but nevertheless, man, we're hooked on the sweet science. We enjoy, love it, and Ali Sebak said it best. He said, Richard, you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's true. That is very true. My man, he loves his job. Yeah, he's everywhere too.
Oh, he's the GOAT, man. That guy's the GOAT. Plain and simple, hands down, period.
Exactly. Yeah, he knows. It's true what he says. It's very true.
Well, speaking of true, man, I mean, I know you're true to who you are, and lately, I mean, you've been very vocal, man. I mean, you're not just working out for anything. Today, you shared with me you went 6 rounds today, 6 rounds of sparring with your son, your youngest son. And when Pop's just not holding the mitts anymore, Pop's got some work in there. And I know you're fine-tuning yourself and you're getting ready, man. I mean, I'm hearing Mike Tyson's making a comeback, okay? Roy Jones Jr., I'm hearing it's just names. Oscar De La Hoya wants to call him, officially announce his comeback. And now we got other fighters that are also as well wants to make that comeback. I love the fact, because I would never ever tell a fighter what to do, as long as they stay on the same tour that they're in. You know what I'm saying? It's like 40-year-olds with 40-year-olds. I mean, I love Mike Tyson. I just don't want to see him fight the Gypsy King anytime soon.
Right. I agree. Another one that just recently said he's making a comeback. It just came out 2 days ago, and he posted a picture of himself, and he looked really good. He looked in great shape. Is my Olympic teammate, Chris Bird.
Yes, he did. He did look good.
Who was a middleweight, who was a 165-pounder. He won a silver medal in the Olympics and went out to become heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes.
You would have never thought that, fighting at 165. But, he went on to win the heavyweight title. And now he's making a comeback, too. So, you got a bunch of older guys making a comeback. And, of course, I've heard, the reason – I'm staying in shape. I'm getting in shape, and I've always, been in some kind of shape. I like to keep myself in the gym, and you want to look trim on TV. You don't want to look too fat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've really been hitting it hard, and I've been working on the gym, and I know Oscar De La Hoya, my Olympic roommate. And he was not only my roommate, we traveled the world together for many years on the national team. We were in Italy, we were in Germany, we were in Australia. We were all over the world, everywhere in the United States when we competed in different national tournaments, and other countries came to compete in different states here in the United States. So we were always together and stuff. And I know Oscar's making a comeback, and that's the only fight. And I called him out. That's the only fight that I would come back for. I think that it's a fight that would sell because we're both in the same, pretty much the same weight class. We could come to an agreement or whatever. But we were Olympic roommates many years ago, and back then when I was champion, we fought for Top Rank. Of course, he went out to really stardom, and he was Golden Boy and won many titles. But I've always wanted to fight him. He gave a lot of guys opportunities. I felt he gave a lot of smaller guys opportunities, and as he got bigger, he fought the right opponents, and like the Pernell Whitakers on his way out, and of course when he beat Chavez Sr. on his way out, and a lot of the big fights, with Floyd Mayweather and Felix Trinidad and Bernard Hopkins, he lost, but he did great, as a fighter, knew how to promote himself, and you know, that's the only fight that at that point in my life when I was champion, I wanted that fight. I wanted to fight Oscar. Why not? Because you're in the business to fight the best. So if I didn't get him back then. You know, why can't I get him 20-some years later? You know, I'm 49. He's, I believe, 47. You know, he was always a smaller guy, but he did go up to fight up into, I guess, middleweight. That's a fight that I would love. You know, if he decides to come. I mean, supposedly he's coming back. He says he's coming back. Some of my family members were saying today or yesterday, they were telling me, we heard he's going to fight Chavez Sr. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, come on, Chavez Sr. is like close to 60 years old. I mean, who wants to see that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. When I first heard the comeback, you know, I posted that picture of them two together as well. But this is before I heard you, and I understand there was a comment made that was on a picture that I posted of Oscar De La Hoya working out and what have you. And I like that matchup. I would love to see you two share the ring. You never did before, and why not? I mean, if that's something that was dear to your heart, why not say, hey, I'm available. You're telling the whole world that you'll be available soon. So, hey, let's make this happen.
I would love that. I mean, look, I got the promotion, man. 1992, we were Olympic roommates, and now, what is it, like 28 years later, they meet in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And, you know, we're both Mexican-Americans, and, you know, everybody knows my style. You know, whether I bleed or not bleed, I come to fight, I come forward. And everybody knows Oscar's style. And, you know, Oscar don't need to be fighting any of the young guys. I mean, I'm like, I mean, that's, think about it. Just imagine, you know, I'm sure Oscar one way or another is going to listen to this interview, but, I mean, imagine 20 years ago, you know, we were 28, 29. It's not the same. I mean, these guys are young guys. They're fast. You know, their footwork, everything changes, you know, 20 years later. Me and Oscar, we're in the same age category. I think it's nonsense that he's thinking about fighting the elite right now, that he wants to talk. He talks about fighting the Charlo brothers and maybe even Canelo. And, you know, if I wants to fight the top guys right now, that I think, you know, that's not a right decision. You know, he needs to come back fight someone like me, man. He's got to fight someone like me. Of course, if he was to beat someone like me, you know, it's a good. If he wants to call it a tune-up fight, you know, to get him going. But fighting guys his own age right now, like with the big names, you'll be making a big mistake by doing that. You're gonna get hurt that way. You know,
I'm going to comment on that right now. KP, is there any way you could pull up that picture? I got a picture of we got one of Oscar and Raul when they were Olympic teammates. We can find it as we go. Now. Okay, if he's mentioning those big names, I mean, he's just not going to jump out the gate and take on one of those names. Somewhere down the line, he has to take, you know, some fights before to get his blood going, to get his footwork going, to get the timing going. And I'm not saying, I wouldn't call yourself, Raul, a tune-up by any means. I've studied you. I've watched you. You give fighters fits. You're right in the middle of the danger zone. It's give and take with you, man. I mean, you know, you just happen to have some scar tissue, man, but your heart was as big as anybody else's.
Honestly, you know, we know Oscar has a big name. He's the big star, but you got to have the right dancing partner, man. And I'll be honest with you, there's no other fighter right now that he's a promoter. He knows. But not even some of the young guys that are champions right now. You know, of course, Canelo, yeah, that would be a huge promotion, him and Canelo, you know, because of, you know, Canelo's name. But me fighting him will probably do a lot better pay-per-view-wise than some of the young champions that are around right now. And he knows it. He knows it because there's a storyline. There's history between us, you know. The whole, you know, we were on the national team together. And we traveled together. And, of course, you know, Oscar, he's got his ways. You know, we haven't talked in years. We were roommates, and, you know, people change, whatever. And, you know, that's my whole thing. You know, I wanted that fight in 1997 when I had the IBF title. And that's the only fight, you know, that I would come back for, you know. Not, you know, I have a goal from all my family, my wife, and my father, and my mom, and, you know, my brother, my sister, everybody. They support me in coming back for a fight like that, because that's the only fight that I would come back for. And I would love that. I would love that. But again, you know, he's a star. You know, everybody wants to fight him. Did I even hear Robert Garcia wanted to fight him at one point? I think I heard Robert Garcia being mentioned. Chavez Jr. I mean, everybody wants a piece of Oscar, of course, because it's a big promotion, But if you really think about it, I mean, they talked about Sergio Martinez.
Yeah.
They talked about Americano. I mean, those guys ain't gonna sell the fight. They ain't gonna be able to. I mean, they're too nice.
Yeah.
They're too nice. So, I would love a shot at him. I mean, if he's really serious about coming back, his brother knows it. I talk to his brother all the time. I said, make the fight, man. Let's go. I'm ready to do it. Which is, I have a good relationship with his brother. We always gotten along and stuff. And
yeah,
like
Joel. We're talking about Joel.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's a great guy. Great guy. We get along. I get along better with him than what I get along with Oscar, man.
No, Joel's a good guy. I mean, he's someone we got to get on the show too, man. Raul, you're a likable guy, man, but I can tell that the tone in your voice that you're all business. That you're dead serious. You're not just saying this to hype anything up. You're ready to go.
Oh, I'm serious, man. One thing is, it's business, man. I mean, to me, it's not even. I mean, it's not even about the money. It's about, I just want a piece of Oscar, man. I've always wanted to get in there with him. Even back then when I was fighting Top Rank, Bruce Trampler, I said, man, give me I'm champion. I mean, Oscar probably wants another world title at 154. Let's do it, man. And at that point, for whatever reason, Bruce Trampler told me Oscar never wanted a part of me. He didn't want to fight me, There's a lot of things that go with that. I'm southpaw, I'm tough, I'm rough, I'm rugged. Mental wise, we always shared rooms. He was always the smaller guy. I was the bigger guy, and I was the alpha dog in the room. I ran the room. You know what I mean? So
that's right.
I don't know I don't know why he never fought me. But I think we could do it now. So and I'm sure he's listening, or he'll listen later. Like somebody will tell him about it, and that's the only fight I believe that I mean, it should happen. It could happen, and I think it's a very sellable fight, man. He's a promoter. He knows what I'm talking about. Well, and it would be great. I would love for that fight to happen.
Well, I mean, have you reached out to Golden Boy at all? Have you talked to Roberto Diaz at all? Have you talked to Gomez at all? Anybody?
I don't need to. Although come on, I don't need to. Those guys know, man. Come on, it's the boxing world. Everybody in the boxing world knows me. I'm very visible nowadays. I mean, it's not like I'm a guy that retired 10 years ago and you never heard from me again. I'm on Showtime all the time, Spanish. I'm on Showbox. I'm always doing interviews, so they trust me. It's not like a guy that I'm my name is there. I'm always on TV and stuff. So and I'm always doing interviews, and I'm sure they know where I'm at. If they really want to make a fight, they know how to get a hold of me. So I don't need to be calling them. I mean, they know what to do. If that ever was to happen, and if Oscar wants that, like I said, I know he's the big star. It's up to him to decide who he wants to fight. Somebody's going to get the fight, but like I said, to be honest with you, I mean, think about it. I mean, why would he want to fight any of the young lions? He's crazy. That's nuts. That doesn't make sense. That does not make sense.
Now, let me ask you this. Say there was talks and it looks like it's going to happen. But there was a time frame. There was a time period for you even to accept a fight before you get in the ring with Oscar. There's also somebody who's been very visible, very vocal, and that's Hector Macho Camacho Jr. He also called out Oscar De La Hoya. Now, he has his personal reasons. According to him, he said Oscar
just
posted...
like we all do. But come on. I mean, Hector Camacho Jr., I mean, come on. Is he going to even make weight, man? Is he even in the gym? I mean, he's got his dad's name. That's all. He's got something to fall back on, his dad's name. But people, I mean, they don't remember that guy. The only way they're going to remember him is because and he's a small guy. What is he like? He fought at 140, 146. When he fought at 160, 165, it was because he was overweight. But he's a midget, man. He's a small guy.
So say the Oscar fight's going to happen. We'll say in about 9 months. Would you consider fighting someone like Camacho Jr. before fighting Oscar De La Hoya?
Nobody. No, I'm not going to fight. Look, the only fight that I would come back for was Oscar's. Look, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back because I'm in need of money. I'm coming back because I love the sport. And the only thing I love the sport, and that's the only fight that I would come back for. I'm not here to fight Camacho Jr. or anybody else. There's no need for me to do that.
So you're ready to go. You're ready to sharpen your tools, the footwork. You get the okay. You're ready to go to camp, make weight, and get it on. Schedule. What are we scheduling this for? 10, 12 rounds? What are your negotiating numbers as far as
listen,
what weight?
He's the one that calls the shots. He's always called the shots, and we'll tell you if they're interested. We talk. It's called negotiation, and hopefully they'll listen to the interview and they'll get the word out there. So they already know. They know. So I think I think it's a fight that people want to see. Just by seeing people on social media, I get a lot of good remarks. People want to see that fight. People would love to see that fight. They don't want to see him with any of the young guys. They don't want to see him with Canelo. They don't want to see him with no one else. I mean, me and him, it's a very sellable fight if he's really serious about making that comeback.
I can see it very sellable. I can see it happening, and I can't see anybody honestly giving me a reason why it shouldn't happen.
Correct. I mean, like I said, there's a big storyline, and there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. I got my own personal reasons why I want that fight.
Raul, tell us, tell the world, tell the Fighter's Voice why you want to take that fight.
That's and I had done other interviews, and I don't need to speak more than that. Until the fight ever does happen, and we promote it, and that's when all that's going to come out. But there's no reason to talk anymore about that. If that does ever happen, like I said, I got my personal reasons why. I want a piece of the golden boy, man. The golden girl. He was my golden girl. So, we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll get back to his people, and it'll motivate him. At least want to at least make a comment.
Whatever it takes. If I need to talk more, just give me a call. Let the golden boy people, Eric Gomez. Anybody, give me a call, and we could make the fight. We can make the fight, and I think it'll be huge, man. I think it'll be a good.
I agree with you.
It makes all the sense in the world. He's not gonna fight a guy that's out of shape. He's the guy that I'm a guy that's still in the limelight. Everybody in the boxing world knows me. There's a storyline behind it about us being roommates, and not only roommates in the Olympics, but even roommates before that on the national team. Like I said, we traveled all over together when we were together. So there's a lot of storylines there, a lot of ways to promote the event. And it's not a fight that people are going to say, oh, man, he's fighting a chump. He's fighting a guy that's not even tough. He's fighting a guy that's, he's been done from boxing. Guy can't even talk. Obviously, it's not like that with me. And I want that fight, man. I want that fight. That's the only fight I would come back for. And he knows it.
Well, hey, you made that perfectly clear, man. So, we're going to move on, but we're going to have one last comment at the very end of the show, but let's talk about some fights that matter today, that did happen. I mean, I want to say, first of all, congratulations to Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy in Bam Rodriguez with that first round knockout. I mean, both brothers, his brother is Joshua Franco, and they come from a fighting family, man. I know you're with Showtime, but I know you enjoy the sweet science of boxing, and you enjoy good boxing events.
Oh, absolutely, man. Any fighters that what I really enjoy, fighters that, because I'm involved a lot in the amateur boxing, because my 19-year-old son, Giovanni, the one that I posted that I sparred, he's a pretty good amateur. He's a top amateur, and a lot of people know about him because we've been to national tournaments a couple of times. But what I really enjoy is seeing guys that had a good amateur pedigree, or guys that I've seen, at the national level, and then they turn pro, and I like to see them coming up. How they develop when their pro debut, their second fight, their third fight, their fifth fight, their 10th fight. How they're coming up in the boxing world, and how they're being developed and getting tested against different styles of opponents. Because some of them they'll put them in there with a strong guy. Sometimes they'll put them in with a really slick guy, a guy that's really awkward, a guy that holds a lot, a guy that moves around a lot all over the place, or makes up the boats. And and that's testing their skills. To see where they're at that point. because sooner or later when this gets the big time, when they get that big shot at the world title, they're ready for whatever whatever comes at them. They had already fought those styles when they were coming up, and they're able to adjust to whatever style is thrown at them. So I think it's to me it's very important. I love to watch kids that are up and coming and have big amateur pedigrees, and going through the pro ranks. It's great, and Robert Garcia has a lot of those fighters.
Yes, he does.
The champions, he's got a lot of up and coming guys that are already prospects, or even guys that are just got a couple of pro fights or on the cusp of getting them. They're prospects and they're on the cusp of getting a really meaningful fight, a fight that where they're going to really get tested and hopefully win that fight and jump to the next level. So I love to see those kind of fights, those kind of fighters.
I agree with you. And speaking of pedigree, Richard Torres Jr. told me to tell you hello, and he can't wait to see you again. And also Richard Torres Sr., he said, tell the champ I said hello, and we're going to sit down and have a steak soon.
Oh, man, okay, so that's great. The great people, tell them I said hi, and I can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, now that's one heavyweight that definitely has some eyes on him and definitely has two set of hands on him, and great expectations, and the future looks bright for Team Torres.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And not only that, him being a Hispanic, as Andy Ruiz, right? Andy Ruiz, being a heavyweight and a Hispanic, that's big. If you make it in the top 10, you rank as a pro, and then you can fight for the world title, become heavyweight champion of the world. Just being Hispanic, the Mexican people are going to follow you. So Torres, he's a great amateur. He's got a lot of talent. I know he made the Olympic team, but now because of the whole pandemic, it's on. I don't know what's going on with that, but I know they're still going to have the Olympics in Tokyo, and he's going to be a part of that team. And we wish him best of luck because he's a young, fine gentleman. Besides just being a really good boxer, he's him and his dad, they're great people, and he's got a bright future, man. We wish him the best of luck, and hopefully he medals in the Olympics or gets that gold, because we know when you get that medal or you win a medal or win a gold medal, going into the pros, it's better for you. It's a lot better marketing-wise. It's going to do him a lot of good.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. Now, I want to ask you, there was some mixed reactions this weekend, and, I'm a personal a friend of the champion, Jamal Herring. What was your whole take on the whole event that took place, the aftermath, and after people had a couple days to take it in, and how the whole fight was handled and the whole stoppage and the cut of the eye? I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but what's your take on that fight?
I'm going to be honest with you. I was my dad had a birthday party on Saturday. The fight was Saturday or Sunday?
The fight was Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah, I did not watch the fight. I got it on. I record a lot of fights and then I watch them later. But I wasn't able to see the fight. I saw the result that Herring won. He was an Olympian. So, but I don't know exactly what happened in the fight because I didn't watch it.
Okay, I just wanted to get your take on it. I enjoyed the fight myself, and a lot of people were kind of. They had their opinion about it, and I got my opinion as well. And I stand with the decision, and I stand with Team Herring, so Team Semper Fi. So just keep it like that. But yeah, no, you're just like myself. I mean, I'll record fights if I can't get to them or watch them, and but I just got to continue to feed my source. I'm just like you, man. I mean, you live it and you breathe it.
Boxing. Yeah, I love to watch boxing, but sometimes we first of all I got to study for my fights on Showtime. And, and we cover a lot of fights. We got we got some good fights coming up here in a couple of weeks. And then of course me being busy with my gym and busy with my son, helping my son out, and then being busy with my family. My wife and my two little ones. So that keeps me real busy. And sometimes I just don't have time to watch them all. But I try to record as many as I can, so I can kind of just watch some of the rounds. And I like to see. I love to see boxing, but I also like to see some of the broadcasters, what kind of job they're doing and how they're doing, and that's just me because I'm at the game, so I like to see competition, I guess.
Exactly. Hey, well, I'm going to pick your brain a little bit. Tell us the life of a commentator. How does he prepare? What do they expect of you? And what are the do's and don'ts behind the camera?
Well, I mean, look, I'm with a very professional company, Showtime, and we're very professional people. There ain't really no do's and don'ts, but I mean, the way we prepare myself, they send you everything, man. They send you bios on the fighters. They send you tapes, the fights of the past fights, and then we got fighter meetings with the fighters. Each one of them that's gonna fight on TV. But that again, that's up to you as a broadcaster to want to prepare. That's some commentators or ex-fighters, they might think, oh, I know boxing, I don't need to prepare myself, but that's not true. It's up to you to really want to prepare yourself and be at your best and know everything about the fighter, his style, a lot of his background. And I like to do that. I really like to, like the week of the fight, it's kind of like I marry all the fighters, for 1 week, I'm trying to watch as many interviews as I can. I try to watch bunch of their videos or tapes or styles, read their bios, and just try to get as much information into my brain. And I write notes, I got my notebook and I write notes about them as much as I can. That way, whenever, and then on top of the fighter meetings, that's, I write down a lot of the stuff that say in the fighter meetings, stuff they worked on, how many rounds they sparred, how many miles a day they ran, or, just their training regimen. They got hurt in sparring or in training camp. Anything that comes up, I like to write all that down because, it's good points, good points that you could bring up during the fight. If something happens, there's a reason why that happened. When he's in training camp, he hurt his left hand, or look, he's been working on this. He's working on attacking the body, just being busier. And especially when he has the guy in the corner, he's been learning not to let him go, not to let him off the hook and just keep him there in the corner or in the ropes, just things like that happen. So I try to put as much as I can into my brain and even writing notes about the fighters. That way, when I do my own cameras, or, we're calling the fight, I could deliver, man, and give the audience the best call that I can. That's my job as a broadcaster, to do as not only a broadcaster, but as an ex-fighter, because I am the ex-fighter, and people want to, they respect that. A lot of people, hey, this guy was in there with, some good fighters. He was a world champion. He was an Olympian. So I want to be able to describe to them what's going on and just have a good call, have a good show.
Very well said. And since you brought up your career, this question, I got a question for you. It's from Eric Hernandez of Dog Boxer. He said, between Vargas, Mosley, and Campos, who did you regret not being able to have a rematch with out of them three?
Well, I'll tell you, of course, I would have wanted a rematch with everybody, but, I fought Vargas in his prime, man. Fernando, and he knows it. Fernando was really sharp, man. He knows that. He really prepared himself for that fight. He was at his best, man. Very sharp, very elusive. Not knockout power where you could stop me with one shot, but he had enough power to get that respect. And he's explosive, I fought the best Fernando Vargas, man. I really think so, and he could probably attend for that. And I would have liked a rematch with him. And of course, Yuri Campos for sure. I would have wanted a rematch with him. That's a fight that I should have. And maybe that guy knows that. The guy that sent the message. I fought Yuri Campos 3 months, not even 3 months, 2.5 months after I was cut up really bad from the Keith Mullins fight. That was on the De La Hoya Hector Camacho undercard. I was the co-main event in September of 1997. Whatever date is, 14, 17 September, whatever that is. By December the 6th of that same year, I was already fighting Yuri Campos. And when I fought Yuri Campos, I was defending my title. Yuri Campos was supposed to be the next Chavez Senior. Yeah. Not Chavez Jr., but Chavez Senior in Mexico. He had a knockout record. He was knocking everybody out. He was, devastating body puncher. He was a really good fighter at that point, and I'm here fighting him 3 months later, not even 3 months later, September, October, November, December, 2.5 months later, and I had camped in between that, and I had gotten cut on the De La Hoya Camacho card. I was a co-main event with Keith Mullins, which I knew Keith Mullins was a great fighter because I knew him in the amateurs. He was in the Olympic trials. He was in the Army, and he was a good fighter, tough fighter. I got cut up like really bad in that fight. I got like 70-some stitches. And here I am 2.5 months later fighting a knockout artist, Boy Campos. Even during training camp, my face was kind of swollen a little bit, and my dad was like, maybe we should pull out. And I didn't listen. I was stubborn. I was like, no, we're gonna beat this guy. And he, and then I go in there with Boy Campos, and as a fight, when the fight got stopped in the 8th or 9th round, the judges had the fight even. One judge had it for me, one judge had it for him, and one judge had it even. But my face just didn't hold up, man. The doctor said my scars, my tissue was like, it looked okay from the outside, but the inside, my skin was still traumatized. He called it traumatized, and my face really, like, I didn't really cut. I had little bitty cuts, but it was more, my face just swelled up. It was like this test, I just looked bad, man. It swelled up really bad, and my eyes closed up, and I wasn't able to see, like, he really didn't hurt me. Just he jumped on me. He threw a lot of combinations, and then the referee stopped the fight. I couldn't see no more. Had I waited, the right amount of time, you live and learn. Me and my father, we were not as experienced as we are now, obviously, but I should have waited at least 6 to 8 months.
Absolutely.
Before I took. Yeah, before I took it.
Let that tissue heal, man.
Let that tissue heal, exactly. Let that tissue heal. And obviously I didn't, because there was some kind of promise at that point to, if I beat Boy Campos, maybe I'll get the shot at Oscar the following year. Okay. But that night, when I lost the title, Boy Campos, it was on the De La Hoya Rivera, Wilfredo Rivera card. And that night, Keith Mullins, the guy that had banged me up, that cut me up really bad, he fought on that card, and he knocked out Terrible Terry Norris. And you remember Terry Norris?
Yeah, San Diego, Terrible Terry Norris. He also got knocked out by Julian Jackson, and then he lost to Simon Brown by knockout, and then the rematch put on a Picasso in the rematch. Right.
Well, he lost to Keith Mullins that night. Keith Mullins stopped him. That's the guy that had cut. And Keith Mullins won the WBC title. I lost the IBF title to Boy Campos, and of course Oscar beat Rivera. So anyways, after that fight, I wanted the rematch with Campos, but he ended up fighting Fernando Vargas. Fernando Vargas took the title away from him. I fought Chibata Flores like 9 months later. He's from California, Jose. Yeah. Chibata Flores, after I took 9 months off, I beat him, and then I believe I had another fight. Maybe then after that, I got the shot at, where did I get the shot at? That's when I got the shot at Fernando, trying to win my IBF title that I had, that he had beat from Boy Campos. So, back to the guy's question, that's a fight that, I would have wanted a Boy Campos rematch, and more probably than the Vargas, because Vargas beat me. He beat me right, like it's not like I said, the fight he stopped me in the 11th round. I beat the, I fought the best Vargas, but
Raul, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. No, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. That night, that Vargas you fought would have beat anybody that night at that weight. So he was unstoppable that night. That's just like comparing Riddick Bowe when he beat Evander Holyfield that first time. That was the best Riddick Bowe we've ever seen.
And Fernando knows it, man. He said, man, I was at my best for that fight. And, there was some, grudge thing between him and Oscar, because I trained for that fight. I trained at Oscar's gym. And, back then, Vargas, how Vargas was back then. He was a hothead, man. That dude, you just look at him, he will get mad, So he had a bad temper and stuff. So, at that point, I was training, I trained at Oscar's gym. And, so, and I know Fernando wanted Oscar, and, they have a history too. They have back then they had their issues or whatever. I fought the best Fernando that you could have fought. But back to the guy's question, that I would wanted the Boy Campos rematch, and for sure Sugar Shane Mosley rematch, because that fight ended in no contest. I hated that it ended. We banged heads in the 3rd round, or fourth round, whatever round it was, third round, and it was accidental headbutts. Of course, yeah. I mean, Shane. You can say Shane came in with his head in order. He hit the top of my, he cut me up, and but I guess I lunged with my left. It was accidental, but the cuts were really bad, both eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know one of them, the doctor said you could see the bone, and it was no contest. But I felt that, me and Shane came up. We all came up together in the amateurs. Shane, he might have won some national tournaments, but he never really was on the USA, the top USA national team.
Yeah.
Like with me and Oscar and Chris Bird and all the top guys. He didn't make the Olympic team, and I knew him coming up. He's also a smaller guy. So when I fought him at 154, man, I was like, okay, well, this is Shane. I mean, first round, yeah, he was fast, but he wasn't fast like where I couldn't see his shots. He wasn't really sharp like Fernando was. Back when I fought Fernando, and my thing was to take Mosley into the second half of the fight. And I felt that every time I would hit him with my left hand or whatever, any punch I hit him, he would just hold on to me like a crab. If you watch the fight, it was
strong
only 2
dude
rounds.
too, man, very strong.
Yeah, every time I would hit him, he would just hold on me. So he felt my strength, and everybody has the right to their opinion. I just wish the fight would have gone longer. Too bad it ended that. But yeah, that's a rematch I would have always wanted even back then. But he ended up fighting Oscar that same year, and he beat Oscar again for the second time. And so, yeah, that's my answer for that guy's question. It would be the Campos fight and the Mosley fight back then when I would have wanted the rematch, but I mean I was never able to get it.
No. Hey, well, Eric Hernandez, you scored on that because you didn't just get an answer. You got detail and you got facts, my man. So great question there. Hey, I want to ask you, let's talk about the future. And you mentioned earlier today that you sparred with your youngest son who's in the amateurs.
Right.
The champ went 6 rounds with him. And, let's talk about his future. Is boxing something that comes natural to him? Does he have that work ethic? Does he have that natural pedigree? Does he see it in his future? And Pops, I'm going to ask you, as a Pops, as trainer, as an advisor, does he have what it takes?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, my dad, who trained me is the one that's who trains my son. But I try to help him as much as I can when I have time. And, like today we did some work. And yeah, he definitely has the work ethic. Let me start with saying, my oldest son, Raul
Yes.
Jr., he was a fighter. He was an amateur fighter. But, it's a tough sport. He was good. He was strong. But, he loved women too much. That's the thing. That was the problem with my son. He loves women too much. You know what I mean?
A lover. He's a lover then.
He's a lover. Yeah. Yeah. So, he finally realized that boxing wasn't for him. It takes a lot of discipline, dedication. It takes a lot of, staying away from, all the bad influences in life and, the party life, the women, et cetera, et cetera. So, but, he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's got a good job now. He's working and stuff. And then my other son, Arturo, he was a decent amateur. We got him to turn pro. He signed with Top Rank. He had I believe 5 or 6, 7 fights, something like that with Top Rank. And then, we got up to 10-0. But at one of those fights, after we signed with Top Rank, they let go. It was a mutual decision. They let go of us, because they stopped promoting on Telefutura, right? Yeah. So they said, we're going to fight on ESPN, but, now we're going to fight, if your son's going to be fighting there, we're going to have 50-50 fight. We can't have a guy that's, like an A side and B side, like where you're moving them. And I said, me as a managing my son, I'm not going to match him up with King Kong at that point of his career.
Yeah.
You got to know how to bring up your fighter,
Yeah.
Especially at that point when he's got 6, 7 fights. So anyway, we started promoting him here in Houston. He was selling out the local ballrooms here. A lot of people supported us. He was doing really good. And one of the fights, one of the guys, a guy that had gone, I forgot his name, but a guy had gone the distance with some Olympic guy, right? Uh-huh. Anyways, that guy poked his eye. He poked his eye, and then
his
the
retina?
next 2 fights. What's that?
In the retina area?
Yeah, it wasn't. Didn't have to do with the. It's not. It was called the corneal abrasion. It wasn't
Okay.
a test retina. Called it's a little scratch over the cornea.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the last 2 fights, man, even during camp, and we sold all these tickets. The last week of the training camp.
Yeah.
His eye would get real, itchy and blurry, and it would bother him. It would get really red, irritated. And we would still go along with it because we had the right opponent. I said, look, no more sparring, and we're just going to go along with it. We had sold all these tickets. But the last fight, we were really going to fight a guy that was a good test for him. The same thing happened. His eye got really irritated. He really couldn't see as well. And like I said, it's called the corneal abrasion, a little cut over his cornea.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? We're just going to pull you out, man. We don't want to take a risk of you fighting. I mean, there's a little test for you. And if, I want to make sure you're 100% right.
Yeah, at your best.
Anyways, the doctor said, yeah, we could operate in the eye and do this and do that. I said, nah, you know what? Let's just, it's not like, he needs to box. He's got a good job too. He's doing well. He's going to school. He's working. So, again, boxing, that's the way it is, man. But my 19-year-old Giovanni, he's doing really good. We were in California for some Olympic, some trials the last time we were over there.
Yeah.
And we lost to Tiger Johnson. Tiger Johnson is the guy that made the Olympic team.
Wow.
He's on the same team as Torres, real good fighter. He's 23, 24 years old. He's got a lot of extensive amateur career, a lot of international experience. And my son fought him, and actually my son gave him a pretty good fight, but Giovanni's only 19, so
yeah.
He's still developing, he's still getting better. He's still, this year he won the Golden Gloves here in Houston. He won the Outstanding Fighter Award for the second year in a row. We were going to go to the state Golden Gloves and then try to go to the Nationals, win the Nationals, but then the whole coronavirus happened, so that was stopped.
Oh, yeah. And
now we're getting ready for some Nationals in December. They were going to be in Lake Charles, Louisiana, but now they moved them because of the hurricane that just recently hit over there in Lake Charles, and messed up the whole city in some kind of way. So they're going to move them somewhere in the Nationals in December. So that's what we're aiming for now. We're trying to go to that and try to get on the national team, try to get experience. I think Giovanni has learned a lot. Obviously he trains with my father. My father trained me. He learns from me, but he also learned even from his older brothers. The mistakes, Arturo and RJ, mistakes they made.
Yeah.
He's really disciplined, man. He's really dedicated, and like I said, my son's good, but it's a tough sport. It's a tough sport. A lot of it. Sometimes, there could be so many good fighters, and you got timing in life. Timing in life means everything. But we're trying. He's trying really hard. He really wants it, and of course, me as a dad, and the whole Marquez family, we support him, and we try to do the best that we can for him. So again, his name Giovanni Marquez, and this year we'll be going to the Nationals in wherever they're at. I believe it's in December, and we're gonna try to win the Nationals, and get our name up there and start winning big national tournaments. So we can get on the national team.
Well, I mean, you got a game plan in place, man, and that's great that a fighter has that support. There's some fighters, they don't get that backbone, they don't get that support system, and it sounds like you given all the support needed and support all your kids, whether they're in the ring or not. So that's very good, and because a lot of the times when they come from a boxing family, they have no choice but to love it. And with you,
right.
you're making those father advisory decisions, and it sounds like you're making the great decisions.
Oh yeah, and actually, like they wanted all of them wanted to box. It's not because I was pressuring them to box. I mean, I didn't want them to box. I mean, they gave me hell. Like for a while, they wanted to box. Even Giovanni, for a while, I didn't let him box until he said, "Dad, I really want to box. I really want to box." And so I got him in the sport. I got him to compete and all that. Get him in the gym, and they want to do it. It's not like it's not one of the things. Oh, I was a fighter. They got to be boxers too. No,
Yeah.
they wanted to do it. I guess they see so much of it, so they're like, man, I want to try it too. So, for Giovanni now, that's the only one. Sometimes, obviously he's my son. And people know me in the boxing world. Sometimes it's hard for him, because that's a lot of pressure. Because right away, like people want to see him fight. Oh, let's see what he's got. Let's see what kind of style. Let's see if he's good. Let's see if he could be like his dad. So that's a lot of pressure for him, and it's nerve breaking. But he takes pressure very well. You know, if anybody could take it well, I think I'm probably the one that's getting more nervous and more work than he does, because I mean, for 19 years old, and like I said, a lot of people want to see what it's about because he's my son. He takes pressure very well, and that's good, because a lot of it is mental. Like he has skills, he's got skills and all, but also when you're in the ring, and the lights come on, and you got people watching you. A lot of fighters, they freeze, man. They can't take that kind of pressure. They just freeze. I've seen it before in Showbox. Different fighters coming up where they just totally freeze and they don't perform it. But Giovanni, he's very well. He takes it very well. He's very relaxed in there, and he performs all the time to his fullest. And I got to give him that, because it's hard, when you got that extra added pressure, being that, your dad is one on the boxing.
Has that name. Has Pop's name.
It's got to be hard, It's got to be hard for any fighter, any fighter, that has a dad that was an ex-fighter, an ex-champion, and had an even bigger name. So it must be, it's something hard to do and hard to take.
Exactly. I agree with you big time. Now, I want to ask you on some of these fights, man. I want your take on them, if you can comment on them. Okay. It was official yesterday. I mean, the signing was official. Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez is going to take place next time on another network other than the network that you work for. How do you see that fight taking place? Who do you have and why?
Man, I don't like to pick fighters. Joey Gamage. Do you know Joey Gamage?
Yeah, Joey Gamage.
Yeah. Otto Wallen. He trains that heavyweight, Otto Wallen, that we had on Showtime, right? And I had a very interesting conversation with him. He knows both fighters. He knows both fighters, and I was very surprised. The thing is, I don't want to tell you, I was just very surprised, because I think Lomachenko, man. I think the best of him. He's highly of Lomachenko, man. His movement. He's a technical fighter. He's got power. He hits you from different angles, and of course, what's his name?
Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, Teofimo Lopez.
Teofimo Lopez.
Yes.
Yeah, he's hungry. Yeah. He's young, very young. He's hungry. He's powerful. He's explosive too. What Joey Gamas has worked with both of them and knows that he's been in both camps. And what he told me was very interesting. And I was very surprised. Before I'll tell you, this might be before I would be like, oh man, Lomachenko. I think Lopez is a little bit early, man. I just but he might be catching him at the right time. I don't know. Hey, that's why the fights are made, man. It's a very interesting fight. The kid is super young. I don't think he's ever fought anybody of Lomachenko's level.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No.
Unless Lomachenko, gets old overnight. They're saying, but
yeah.
I mean, he's a great defensive fighter. He's a guy that really doesn't get hit much. I mean, he's gotten hit, of course, it's boxing, but he's a good defensive fighter. He's a defensive fighter, technical. It's going to be a good fight. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to see it in my living room. It's going to be great. It's going to be good, and I wish both of them the best of luck.
What fight are you excited that is finally going to happen, and what fight are you waiting for it to happen? I mean, a lot of people, of course, are going to talk about Bud Crawford and Spence. Is that one fight that's on your list, or let me know two fights that you are very interested in seeing take place early 2021 or late 2020?
Well, I mean, of course, I got to promote Showtime, man. I'm really excited about. Honestly,
let's hear Showtime, because there's some dogs at Showtime. There's some monsters there.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. I'm really excited about, the Charlo brothers. They're here from Houston, and they, Jamal, is the middleweight, champion. He's got a really, really. They're both gonna fight on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This month, September 27th, I believe, right?
Yes.
26th, whatever that's. Yeah, 27th. And I'm excited about those fights because they're really, really good on paper, man. They're really good test for both fighters. For Jamal, he's fighting Derevchenko, who fought Triple G, and he fought Danny Jacobs, and those fights were give and take. And I just remember Derevyanchenko, man. I remember him from Showbox, and at one point I labeled him as one of the best prospects that I've seen on Showbox, and I said this guy's going to be a world champion one day. So I mean, that guy is really strong. He's got a extensive amateur career, had like so many amateur, but like 200, 300 amateur fights. He had a lot of amateur background, you know. And of course, Jamal, you know, he's really both twin brothers that really proved themselves, you know. They've been coming along, and of course, Showtime and themselves, they've done a great job of promoting themselves as the twin brothers, because I believe they both need each other. Because if you just have Jamal, it's like, okay, Jamal, Charlo, nah, you got to have Jermell too. And if Jermell, you know, he's got to have Jamal too. So people know him as the twin brothers, you know. So that's going to be a really, really good fight. And I think that, you know, like I've always said, in boxing, you got prospects, you got contenders, and you got superstars. So, you know, with Jamal, you know, winning that fight in an impressive fashion, you know, whether it's by knockout or he completely dominates Derevyanchenko, I think, you know, he might be on his way to being superstar status, you know, with his brother, who also has a very tough test in Rosario. You know, Rosario, who was a guy that you know, he's got knockout power. Who did he knock out? He knocked out J-Rock, I believe, right?
Yeah, that man has power. I mean, his whole base, his legs. I mean, the guy has power. The way he torques his hips, the man has power. He hits you just right, and you're going to feel that punching power.
Exactly. You know, and there's a lot of other fighters in Jermell's weight class. Yeah. You know, you got Jared Hurd, you still got Lara, you got Erickson Rubin, who we got next week. You got Tony Henderson. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of fights to be made there. You know, so
8 pounds more. You got David Benavidez.
Well, that's for Jamal. You got Andre. You got Demetrius Andre. You got Munguia.
Yeah.
That was also moved up. You know, you got Chris Eubank. There's a lot of fights, and then
I like Eubank.
And then 168, you got what's his name? Like you said, Benavidez, who we had recently on Showtime. So it's a very competitive weight class. All the weight classes: 154, 160, 168. Because then of course you got the big star Canelo. Everybody wants to fight Canelo at 160 or 168. So but Rosario, man, he's a strong puncher. You know, he's aggressive. He's got a good chin. You know, he's got a good body attack. He knows how to, you know, cut off the ring. And if Charlo could, you know, of course, you know, beat him and devastate him fast, and to make a big statement, that he's going to make a big statement. You know, they're fighting for all 3 belts. And, you know, like I said, the Charlo brothers there, if they both win, I mean, they're on their way to being, you know, superstar or pay-per-view fighters. You know, that's going to help their marketing wise. You know, it's gonna help them. It's really gonna help them. And then again, you know, we also got, you know, Tank Davis against Leo Santa Cruz.
Oh my gosh, that was the one that I was gonna wait for towards the end. That is gonna be a good fight. I'm just glad it's matched up, and I'm curious to see what weight both men are coming in. But I'm gonna let you be the expert on this.
Well, I mean, look, I believe the fight is made at 140, but you know, it's kind of confusing. But I believe they're still fighting. They explained to us how it works, but I believe they're both fighting for the 130 belt and 135.
Yes,
okay. They're fighting for Leo's belt, and they're also fighting for Tank Davis' belt. But look, on paper, man, Tank Davis, I don't think he's fighting anybody that has the experience that Leo has. I mean, he fought Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yeah. But you know, I think Yuriorkis Gamboa did past his prime. You know, he was an Olympic gold medalist, but he you know, he beat him. He took care of business. Yeah. He finally stopped him. He did show that, you know, he got tired. You know, he got tired towards the end of the fight. You know, I think highly of Gervonta Davis. He's a good fighter, but as long as he dedicates himself, you know, as long as he has a good camp and he's dedicated himself, he's disciplined himself. And you know, what can I say about Leo? I mean, Leo's been in there against the best. He's beat some very good fighters, you know, Abner Mares, and you know, he's been there with Carl Frampton, you know, where he won and lost, and I think the key, you know, because he throws for Leo Santa Cruz, if he's able to overcome the first couple of rounds and just take Tank Davis into the deep water, you know, and take him.
I agree.
He's got the experience. His punch output. He throws a lot of punches too. You know, I don't think Tank Davis has fought a guy that's as busy as Leo Santa Cruz. But the thing is, can Leo Santa Cruz take Tank Davis's power? You know,
that onslaught in the first half of the fight.
Yeah, because when Davis hurts you, man, he's got that killer instinct. He'll finish you. And you know, let's be honest. You know, Leo is a smaller guy than Tank Davis. You know, than Gervonta Davis. He's a smaller guy. So you know, there's a lot of pros and cons about that. You know, for each fighter. And again, that's why that fight is made. I think it's a great fight on Showtime pay-per-view. You know, I'm excited. I'll be covering that fight and you know, doing the Spanish.
Best job in the world, man.
It's you know, I think those two cards are the most that I'm excited about this year, because not just because I work for Showtime, but hey, I mean, they're big names. You know, they're big names. The guys that we've been developing on Showtime. A lot of them came through the Showbox series. You know, like Charles, they fought on the Showbox series, and now they're at the big stage fighting pay-per-view on the verge of, you know, really making a big statement if they win there and really become superstar pay-per-view fighters. And again, Gervonta Davis, he's one of the big stars that he's on his way. Like, you know, maybe he could be the next Mayweather. I don't know. But, you know, he's got a tough guy in front of him. A guy with a lot of experience. A guy that has been there before, he's been in the limelight. He knows about the big fights. He stayed busy. Leo Santa Cruz, and, you know, what a story between him and his dad. They're a great
beautiful
family.
Story, yeah.
And I'm just, man, I'm looking forward to seeing that fight too. So those are the fights that I'm excited about.
No, great analogy, Raul. Here's the thing. I was laughing a little bit when you're messing with the Char brothers, because I met, and I'm going to say this, one of them in Las Vegas, and I didn't know which one I met. I mean, these guys are identical. They move the same. They talk the same, and neither one of them had a fight lined up, so they're walking around at the same weight. I mean, they're identical twins, man.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes I confuse them and stuff, but I have to say this. I remember these kids, man. When Willie Savannah, Jim, he recently passed away. Maybe a couple of weeks ago. He was a guy that really. I got to tell you, really supported the amateur system here in Houston. Well, I used to train at his gym before back when I had Ronnie Shields training for a little bit, and I trained at his gym. And I remember the Charlo brothers. They were little bitty guys, you know, they were little, man. And I see them twin kids always running around, and they never really won big amateur tournaments, but they always came back. And I noticed that discipline that they had. You know, they always came back and they trained hard, no matter what. They always wanted to learn. They sat there and watched all the sparring and stuff. They wanted to learn, man. They wanted to learn, and look where they're at now. And I knew that just by seeing that they're worth it, I knew that one day that they would make it, because they're worth it, man. Sometimes you got kids that have so much talent, but they don't have that discipline. You know, they get away with winning fights with not training that much, but they just have that talent, natural talent. But sooner or later, they're going to meet a guy that has talent, just like, or they're hungrier than them, and they work hard, they train hard, and they get beat. And sometimes, you know, they stop coming to the gym. But the Charlos always kept coming to the gym all the time, no matter what. And like I said, I mean, I'm excited for them, you know, because now, you know, they're on a big stage on Showtime pay-per-view, and you know, they just want to be the best, man. They just want to be the best. Like they call themselves Lions Only. So
exactly.
I got to support my hometown fighters, you know. But they're in tough. They're in tough, and you know they know it too. And you know that's what they're having. That's what they're training really hard, because they want to stay on top.
Well, you know what? Iron sharpens iron, and they get sharp from one another. And even though they're brothers, they still got that competitive spirit. Even though they have each other's back. You know, that makes me think of the Diaz brothers from Stockton. It makes me think of the Diaz brothers from Stockton, and also the Madera brothers from Stockton, a younger generation. And you know, but I want to refer back to this, because we're winding down at the show, and I wanted to let you go. Okay, I'm going to give you the platform. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to look into that camera, because your picture's right in there. Okay. And I want you to let Oscar De La Hoya know that you mean business, that you really want this fight. Here's your opportunity right now, because you've been on a lot of podcasts, but I don't think anybody's
Right.
ever given you the platform like this. I'm giving it to you right now, my man.
All right, man. Hey, look, Oscar, if you're listening to this, make the fight happen, man. Make the fight happen. I mean, there's no reason for you to go look anywhere else. We go way back. You know our history. You know everything we've done. You know all the good things we've done together. You know all the bad things we've done together. We traveled all the world together, all over the United States together. And we talked even back then when you were 132, 125, 132, and I was 147, 156. You knew all the time we was like, man, what if you fought one day? That would be crazy as pros, you know. And you know that when I was champion, I wanted that fight. But you never gave me the opportunity. And now you're talking about coming back. You want to come back. And if you really want to come back, there's no need to look anywhere further, man. You know, you're a promoter. We have a storyline. We have history together. That's the fight that people want to see. Me and you. There's no reason for you to go look and fight Tahir Chavez Sr., who's 59 years old, close to 60. La Maravilla Martinez, Maidana. I don't know what other fighters have been mentioned. Me and you is a fight that people want to see and that's going to sell. People want to see that fight. Make it happen. I know you're the guy. You're the one that makes the shots, the decisions. Let's do it, man. Let's do it for the fans. You know, you say you want to do it for the glory. Let's do it for the glory. It's not about money. It's nothing like that. I know you have millions and millions. You know, I'm good where I'm at. Let's do it for the glory. That's what you always say. Let's do it for the glory. That's it.
Very well said. Only on the Fighter's Voice. That everybody has a voice. Every fighter has a voice, and including you, champ Raul Marquez. You made it very clear. I had you come on the show, and I didn't want to bombard you with this whole Oscar question, because I wanted the fans, the followers, and the supporters to know exactly what the champ is still doing, how you reinvented yourself, a family man, a father, a man that has a career, a very good career, and is good at his craft. But yet, like every dog, like every fighter, you still have that burning desire deep in your corazon, your stomach. It's calling you, and it's now or never. That opportunity once opened up again, and it's now open as we speak. And I hope you get the desire of your heart. And I hope you give the fans and the followers exactly what they want and what they're anticipating. And that's the return of the Golden Boy taking on Raul Marquez. Make it happen.
Golden Boy. El Diamante versus the Golden Boy. Remember, El Diamante. Diamond always cuts gold.
there you go, man. Very well said. Very well said.
I don't need to say more.
Very well said. Well, what you can say is, hey, how do we follow you? How do we support your branch and your whole public figure, your Instagram, your Twitter? How do we support you, my man?
Okay, man. I'm on Twitter. My Twitter is Raul Marquez, RaulMarquez 92. Of course, that's Raul Marquez 92. That's the year I went to the Olympics, 1992. So Raul Marquez 92. And then my Instagram is Raul Marquez 1992. Yeah, Raul Marquez 1992 is my Instagram. And of course, I'm on Facebook, just my name, Raul Marquez, RaulMarquez on Facebook. And that's it, man. I have no Snapchat. I just got 3 social medias. I think that's enough to deal with.
My man, you got 4. Don't forget, we can catch you on Showbox, The Next Generation. Also, Showtime Boxing in Espanol. Raul Marquez, it's been a pleasure and an honor having you here on The Fighter's Voice. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. I want to thank you, my man, for taking time out of your busy schedule and making this happen. You accepted the invitation. You showed nothing but class, and you showed nothing but courage to call out somebody that you always wanted to call out. You did it here on the platform. And we appreciate you, man, and we'll be rooting for you. And give us a time frame, man. Are we looking in 6 months? When's this thing going to happen?
Oh man, I'm ready whenever the Golden Boy.
Okay.
Man, whenever the Golden Boy gets on the call and I'm ready.
Hey, man, and we'll be ready to support you and watch you. Hey, it's been a pleasure, man. We're going to go ahead and cut off right now, but I want you to go ahead and hold on, man, and we'll go ahead and cut his mic, KP. Hold on, because I want to have a few words with you as soon as we're off.
All right.
All right.
for having me on, man. I had a great time. I had a blast. And,
Absolutely.
anytime.
Absolutely. Hey, Rich Ortiz, your host of The Fighter's Voice. Tomorrow we got ESCOVEDO, the UFC veteran. He'll be on here on the platform with Stephanie Frosto of Madera, California. She's going to tell us all about the house of the UFC, Combate Americas, Bellators, and all the bouts and all the champions, and her career just continuing to bloom and take off. It's a wrap here in Fresno, California. Thumbs up for Richie.
Of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast. Saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.